Thank you, Mr. Jennifer, for the lovely introduction. I haven't really done much public speaking in my life, so here it goes. Just one thing I really do want to say is that this isn't about me and how I overcame these things that happened in my life. It's about Jesus and how he showed me things that I didn't see, and how he showed me the exit, how he showed me the light at the end of the tunnel. So take that into mind. My life has not always been sweet potato pie or something sweet like a candy. I've had issues and obstacles placed before me my whole life. I've had struggles and tussles with the world around me. I didn't always see the light at the end of the tunnel. I guess to some, the troughs or the pits I went through aren't much at all. I'm sure to a kid in Ghana and who lost both his parents wouldn't understand why I could even call them pits. Or I'm sure that to a mother who lost her children in a car accident, what I went through doesn't seem like much. The fact is that we all go through troughs and pits, some large, some small, and no matter what the magnitude, I come to realize that it's how we overcome these troughs that define us. My troughs, as I now call them peaks of my life, have been the best things that have happened to me in my life. They shaped who I was. They were my alarms to open my eyes and see who God actually is. Those difficult times really showed how God's power works best in our weakness. When I was a small child, around the age of 4, God was a significant person in my life. He was my hero, my best friend, someone I always talked to when I had problems. I remember I wrote letters to him, asking him for help, asking him how he was. And I couldn't write, so I just told my grandma to write it for me. I always ran to God when I had struggles in my life. My faith was something that wasn't affected by the outside world. Unfortunately, though, in the years to come, I faced things that pulled me away, and eventually, I neglected God. My mom had to raise me on her own for a while, and then she was fortunate enough to meet my stepfather, whose work contract eventually expired, and when I was the age of 5, I came here to Canada. Being new to the cold winters and to the snow, I was quite terrified, didn't know what was going on around me, all this white powdery stuff. And then, over the years, I was oblivious to many of the things when I was a kid. I didn't realize that we were almost basically poor. We lived in a small hotel. I slept on an air mattress for a few long months. And I didn't also notice how my stepdad, and my mom have been having a lot of issues that I was completely oblivious to it. And then one day, all of a sudden my stepdad moved out, and I didn't know what was going on. I didn't even know he was my stepdad. To me, he was my real father. And then all of a sudden, I see my mom. She's crying. She's standing by her bed, and she's just crying. And I'm like, Mom, what's wrong? She's like, he's not actually your dad. Man, at that point, something just hit me. I was trying to think, and I wanted to go to God, but I made so many mistakes before that I couldn't even get myself to go. I ended up avoiding him, and eventually, throughout all these other obstacles I later faced, I completely neglected him. I ignored him. I was scared. I didn't repent. I didn't know what to do. Eventually, I ended up acting up in school. I got expelled in grade 4. I was suspended for weeks at a time. The amount I was actually at school was not very little. And since my mom was on her own raising me, I barely ever got to see her because she had to work long shifts just so I could have enough to eat. I would maybe see her in the morning, and if I was fortunate enough, I would see her before I went to bed. And that went on for a long time. And it was really hard on me. I didn't know how to feel. All my parents had all my friends, had all these well put together families that seemed kind of perfect. And I just felt like, I guess, kind of a loser. And although I went through these hard times, it really shaped me. Later on, I still neglected God, and that was probably, I regret it. That's something I regret the most, neglecting him completely, not seeing who he was or what he could have done for me. And later on, I ended up realizing that I really did need him. And I got close to him for a sec, and then eventually I faded away again, and I ended up getting into alcohol by the time I was in grade 8. Yeah, I know, it's not good. And I ended up getting into lots of fights and problems at school again. I was around lots of drugs, never did them, but I was always around them. And that wasn't easy either. I saw a lot of my friends go down the wrong road, a lot of my friends became addicts, and they even had to go to rehab and stuff. And I've seen some of my friends go to juvie and stuff, and it wasn't easy. And then I came to Calvin Christian, which was a complete change from what I faced before. It was crazy. I felt like it fit in even less, but everyone was so welcoming, and through these friendships that I built here, I really was shown more of who God was. And then, just recently in Mexico, I went back there, and I saw my friends, all my old friends from Mexico, and for 2 weeks, I was in the darkest place I could have ever been. I can't remember one night when I wasn't under the influence of alcohol. I can't remember one night when I didn't smoke a whole pack of cigarettes. I was completely in a dark place. I would go to bed at night. I wouldn't even recognize who I was. I didn't know what I was doing. And then a friend messaged me when I was in Mexico. And she really, I guess, made me regret and made me realize what I was doing. I came back, and these friendships, these people, they led me to Christ. I recognized what I was doing. All these troughs, they could have led me the wrong way. I could have taken these things, I could have gone down a dark road. But God, he reached out, he said, "You are more to me than this. You are not just this person. You can do so much more than this." And he really reached out. He held me, carried me, said, "Humble yourself. You can't do this on your own." So I prayed a lot more, started going to church a lot more, reached out, started loving people, seeing who they were for who they are, not for what the world sees them as. And then, after that, I was back again. And when I look back, I realized how much God has actually helped me in my life. I used to wander the streets when I was only 10 years old. My mom was never home, so I'd just leave the house. I'd be in dangerous areas like Wolseley, downtown, walking the streets as a 10-year-old boy, and nothing ever happened to me, and I could see how God really was there for me. And even in incidents where I was stupid enough to drive and fall asleep and go into the ditch, I'm sure most of you have heard this story. I was in the ditch going 110 kilometers per hour. One more second, one more minute, or I could have been, dead, and thankfully I was able to wake up and get out of there on time. And all these things, all these challenges, I know you face them too. I know you go through them. They might seem small to others, but just know that God's there. He's waiting for you to reach them, to humble yourself. Although you might think you can do it on your own, it's not that easy. I tried for several years, and I couldn't do it on my own. I need his help. So, one thing you guys should do is reach out.